In this video, I'm making a cajon drum, and it's basically a box that you sit on and tap with your hands, or in my case, with my hand. And you may be asking, why am I making a cajon? Well, back when I had two arms, I played a number of instruments, including drums, guitar, bass guitar, banjo, fiddle, and I thought to myself, the cajon is very similar to the drums, so I should make a cajon and play it in my video. So, if you stick around to the end of the video, you will see me play the cajon, and maybe the guitar, and maybe the bass guitar. And I threw in a little bit of keyboards just for fun. So, I'll see you then. I started by milling African mahogany for the sides, rosewood for the top of the cajon, and Tasmanian blackwood for the base. Then I used dominoes to join the book-matched African mahogany boards together. The honey-coloured mahogany will look amazing against the deep red colour of the rosewood. Right out onto the side panel, which is African mahogany, which is a fairly straight grain timber, but I believe it has a reasonably good acoustic properties for a soundboard on either side of the cajon. The top is made from rosewood, and after trimming to size on the table saw, it was time to do the joins. The rosewood top is joined to the African mahogany sides with 26 finger joints. I made a finger joint sled with a threaded rod and some scrap timber I had laying around. After each cut, I turned the rod 10 times. This moves the panel 6.3 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch, which is the same width as my table saw blade. If you look closely, you can see the timber move across as I turn the threaded rod with the spanner. Then I clamped both side panels to the sled and cut the corresponding grooves in the sides. The fingers and grooves were too tight, so I added half a turn after each cut to allow space for the glue. This process was mocked up using scrap timber before committing to the top and sides. Even then, I had to redo one joint on the top panel to make it fit. I taped the base in without glue to hold the sides apart. This was just me being cautious about gluing up too many components at once and getting into trouble. A small piece of scrap ply was used to apply clamping pressure to the sides in order to push the finger joints into each other. That's a lot of clamps. Oh, yes. That is spot on. I've cut the ply backing board for the cajon, and I've trenched out a rebate or a shoulder here for it to sit in. But I'm always torturing myself around, should the corners be nice and round, which I think look good, or should they be square? Well, for this job, I'm going to square up the bottom and leave the tops round, so I get the best of both worlds. Really, I just couldn't make my mind up, so I'm doing both. Hang around. Let's watch how it turns out. After cutting the ply back, I rounded the top corners on the bandsaw, then sanded them to fit with a homemade rasp. Okay, I've just finished cutting a hole in the backboard of the cajon on the drill press with a hole saw. Anyway, just like a guitar needs a round hole in the front, well, any shaped hole really, to allow the sound to emit, the cajon also needs a hole somewhere to allow the sound to escape. Here, I'm cutting a round hole in the tapper with a circle jig and the router. This will make sense in a minute. Okay, you might be wondering why I cut a large hole in the front of my cajon in the tapper. Well, I'm going to add a drum skin into the front of the cajon, and it will give me the option of either tapping timber or the drum skin and a variety of sounds when I play it. It's going to be really cool. So stick around to the end of the video and you will see me play the cajon and maybe a couple of other instruments as well. The drum skin is made up of 3 components: the skin, a timber ring, and a metal clamp to hold them all together. To start with, I cut 2-ply rings on the bandsaw out of 12mm ply. I glued the 2-ply rings together, being careful to position the cuts I made on the bandsaw on opposite sides for strength. When the glue was dry, I sanded the ring smooth, then checked the drum skin fitted over the ring. I cut the front off an old car speaker to use as a bracket to pull the drum skin tight. The drum skin in the front of the cajon needs to be tensioned, and to tension it, there's a lip or a ring on the outside of the drum skin. That lip stops the drum skin from pushing through the hole in the tapper. Now, to tension the drum skin, earlier I made this timber ring. The timber ring pushes into the back of the drum skin and tensions it because the drum skin can't pop through the hole. But how do I apply the pressure? You saw me cut the back off a speaker, a car speaker. Well, that car speaker fits neatly over the timber ring. And the car speaker has 6 holes in it, which align with 6 holes in the tapper. So when I push the timber ring with the car speaker frame in the back of the drum skin, it will tension it. So now all I need to do is put the 6 bolts in, tighten the nuts, and they will actually pull the frame forward and sandwich the timber ring in between the drum skin and the metal frame. And that's going to tension it. It's going to work perfectly, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Before putting it all together, I had to trim the tapper to size on the edge sander. Then I stained the edge of the tapper black with a permanent marker. I rounded over the sharp edges on the top because this is where you'll sit to play the cajon. That is outstanding, just how I planned it to be, alternating red and honey-coloured timbers. Beautiful. There's always one. There's always one that doesn't want to play. Due to my lifelong interest in music, I had to include it in my videos at some stage. So in this video, all the music you hear, I've actually played and recorded. Finally, you get to see how I attached the drum skin to the tapper. Thanks for hanging around to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And if you hang around a little bit further, after the stills, you'll get to see me play 4 instruments: keyboard, bass guitar, guitar, and of course the cajon. So sit back and enjoy, and I will see you in my next video.